What's the reason for you to put all this effort into being going above and beyond, for you not to take it when it's there? And against your old team, the same team that said they didn't want you or you weren't good enough or they didn't want to pay you, the same team that talked about you crazy on camera for the whole world to see.
All right, people, so we're back to the Shadow League locker room, and with me today, former NFL star fullback Ovie Mughelli, and we got a lot to unpack, Ovie. All right, Notre Dame's historic win and the controversy surrounding that, plus targeting non-calls in Texas's double overtime thriller, and then the Falcons' clock management, which I know you got a lot to tell us about with that. So you ready to get it in, bro?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Well, starting things off, of course, Notre Dame beats Georgia. And this was perhaps unexpected to some, but maybe not to others. Marcus Freeman has done a phenomenal job. After the first postponement in the game's history, the Fighting Irish secured their biggest postseason win in over 30 years by beating Georgia. However, the victory has been overshadowed by controversial officiating, including the questionable pass interference call that sparked a lot of debate. Ovie, your take on this game right here, the Fighting Irish and their win over the Dogs, man.
I mean, I actually love it just because it's a chance to show that everybody's dangerous. Everybody in college football can be dangerous. And, you know, I've been this way for a long time. I'm all about the underdog. I'm all about, you know, not having dynasties. It'd be different if I was part of a dynasty. I'd want to stay on top. But for me, I love parity. I love seeing teams we don't expect, like to the NFL. When the Detroit Lions last year came out of nowhere and they became a team that people were talking about, I'm like, that's good for football. The 12-team playoff, despite people saying, you know, Indiana didn't belong there, SMU, Boise don't belong there, I want to give them a chance. Again, I went to Wake Forest University. Well, we a smaller school, one of the smallest in the ACC, one of the smallest in the Division I, but we still were competing. I want an opportunity, a chance. And Notre Dame, they're not really an underdog, but compared to Georgia, the juggernaut that Georgia is, people were thinking that Georgia's going to roll through everybody because they got the big names and they got the coaches and they got the players and they got all the facilities and star power you need. But on any given Sunday, any given Saturday, and then this point, a team could win. So I get the calls are controversial, but the way that I was coached, the way I was brought up is that you don't let the game get close enough to where one call can actually change the game. Yeah. So people are mad. I'm in Georgia. I probably can get some flack for this. You know, the best team won. And Georgia wasn't playing at their best at that game. And so therefore, they're not going to the college football playoffs. Right. And I think that's actually good for football. I think it's good to have other teams come out there and show that they can win.
Yeah, I think this is definitely balancing it out, and it makes it even more exciting. Obviously, we saw number one Oregon upset by Ohio State, and Ohio State is back in the conversation in a significant way. So it's going to be interesting. Now, do you think that this the controversial call kind of tarnishes the impact of this victory, or is it just it is what it is as far as we're concerned with Notre Dame, winning?
No, it definitely is what it is, because I've been in so many situations, NFL, college, shoot, even high school, where calls, forget controversial, they were wrong. They were just wrong calls. We got screwed over by the refs. But again, it goes back to what I'm saying. You can't let the game be so close that one call can change the outcome of the game. And I get it. It's a game of inches. I get it that, you want the right call to come out at the end of the day. But again, that's not the world we live in. That's just not something that's going to always be possible.
Right.
So if it's that close and the call happens like that to where you're on the bad side of a wrong call, that's football.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Man, well, speaking of other big games, man, Texas versus Arizona State, that was a highly discussed game. 39-31 double overtime semifinal win, and Texas edged out Arizona State. Now, there was some controversy, all right, over two non-calls on those potential targeting penalties. In one instance, Javar Robinson from Arizona State intercepted a pass. This is another defender delivered a hit on Texas receiver Isaiah Bond. Now, officials reviewed the play and ruled no targeting, allowing the interception to stand. Later, a helmet-to-helmet collision involving Arizona State's Melquan Stovall was viewed, but again, no penalty was called. Now, are we going to stick with your premise? No one call should handle this?
Not only no one called, but also let the boys play. I'm from an older school where I get we're trying to make the game safer, and I get we want to keep the head-to-head collisions out of the game. But sometimes that's a part of football. And as an offensive player, I feel bad for the defensive players who are told to change their trajectory in mid-flight, are told in the split second to know that the running back or the receiver or the quarterback is going to change their head, slide, dip their shoulder, and they're aiming for a legal point. But if I duck down, I can almost bait the defender into having a penalty every single play. So the fact that some of these players or the coaches or the refs are letting these boys play, I love it. Yeah. Because at some point you have to let the game of football be the game of football. And that involves hard hits. That involves sometimes hits that are around the head and neck area. But as long as somebody's not deliberately, consistently trying to lower their head and the crown of the head, take people out, because unfortunately there are guys like that too. I play with guys who said, some on my team that said, I'm going to take this dude out. I'm going to spear the heck out of him. I'm going to hit him. And they're going after it. As long as it's not one of those guys, if it's someone who does it inadvertently, let it slide, let them play. Don't let the referee be the one who decides the game. Yeah. So I actually love the way they handle that.
All right. Now said, needless to say, then the NCAA does not need to get involved from your perspective, Ovie.
No.
Listen, let's talk about these Falcons, man. You know, I know you watched that game. They had back-to-back wins and then fell to the Commanders, right? 30-24 overtime loss. Raheem Morris, you know what I'm saying, made a critical clock management error, and he did not use that timeout, which allowed the Commanders to regain possession and eventually win. Now, the last time an NFL coach did this, they were fired. All right, Chicago Bears, Matt Eberflus, he botched that clock management in their Week 12 game against the Lions, and they lost 20-23. I mean, what are your thoughts, man? Raheem Morris and that particular situation right there.
Calm down. Like Aaron Rodgers said, I don't like Aaron Rodgers at all, but he was right when he said relax. RELAX. Relax, Falcons fans. I get it. You're upset. You're angry. And frankly, you should be, because there was no reason that a head coach should be saving these timeouts like he can cash them in for later. Saving these timeouts like he going to use them in the next game. Yeah. I was as confused as everybody else at what he did because, you know, frankly, no one man loses the game. Back to the referee thing, I feel like you can't blame the kicker. He makes a field goal. You shouldn't have it that close. You can't blame a receiver if he drops the ball. You can't blame a running back if he fumbles or if he throws an interception fully. You can blame them for part of it, but you can't say it's all his fault. He's the reason. No, everyone makes their mistakes, but it shouldn't be that close.
Yeah.
And with Raheem, yeah, his mistakes did hurt, but we put the game in a situation to where we made so many mistakes along the way to where that's just another part of a bad series of decision making. But nah, Raheem's not going anywhere, guys. Arthur Blank, if you've been a real Falcons fan, you've seen with Mike Smith, my coach, with Arthur Smith, with Dan Quinn, he will give these guys chance after chance after chance. In fact, most times, it was too long. So with Raheem being his first year, being able to get the Falcons, we're at the top of the division now with wins. No, but we're out here beating beating every team twice. Saints, so. But yeah. I feel like we have a good coach. We have a coach that has a Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions type of let's rally around him. Let's make the players better than they actually are. Let's play for this coach because he's a player's coach. Don't get rid of him because he made some mistakes. Yeah. It's his first year really being a full first year being a head coach. Yeah. He's going to make some mistakes just like Michael Penix is. So I don't like it. I wish he didn't do it, but they're not getting rid of Raheem.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, the Commanders executed, man. Like
they did good. Jaden Daniels is a truth, man. Like you can't say, let's play some scrubs.
Right, nah. Jaden Daniels, he balled. So I mean, it is what it is. And it was a great game, but it's just unfortunate. I know Falcon fans are always like, they're on the roller coaster oftentimes, man. So we know how that goes.
I feel bad for them. I'll say because we literally grabbed defeat out of the jaws of victory. Yeah. We were 6-3, brother. We were flying high. I was talking about my podcast. We're going to the Super Bowl, baby. We're going to the Super Bowl because Kirk Cousins out there putting up 500 yards. We getting two running backs with 100 yards each. We was balling, and then we just we fell off a cliff, or Kirk
Yeah.
did, and we didn't put my boy Penix in early enough.
Yeah. Well, hopefully Penix. I mean, look, he looks like the future, and I'm optimistic about what the Falcons can obviously do in this next chapter. You know what I mean? It just ain't gonna happen. Obviously, the rest of this season is over with, so we already know where things stand.
We got a chance, Jose. We got a chance if we win against the Panthers, and if the Saints, the Saints beat the Bucks. We can have a New Orleans miracle happen.
I love that. Hey, Ovie, you came back with the optimism. I love that, man. I mean, listen, I know. Listen, it's just for Michael Penix, he's getting his feet wet, but I think he's doing a great job thus far. But he made some mistakes, but we expect that, right? So we want to see, what is really going to happen as this team gels around him. What the future looks like in terms of gelling around him. Let me ask you this, man. On the fair or foul side, man, Saquon Barkley sitting out, man. Fresh off of 2,000 yards in this season, sitting out the final game, leaving him short of breaking Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record. Should he prioritize his health for the playoffs or chase the record and go for history as well? What are your thoughts from a fullback?
Chase the record, man. I mean, again, I'm biased because it's not my body. I don't know how he's feeling right now. I don't know what his knees, his shoulder, his back is feeling, but I do know that when you get a chance to break a record like that, if you're close, you take it. Like, what's the reason of going hard game after game? Yeah, I know to get wins, but what's the reason for you to put all this effort into being going above and beyond, for you not to take it when it's there? And against your old team, the same team that said they didn't want you, or you weren't good enough, or they didn't want to pay you, the same team that talked about you crazy on camera for the whole world to see. You get a chance to dig it to them or stick it to them, and you're like, nah, I'm going to pass. I mean, he did it the first time when they played the Giants. He said, let the young guys eat. Like around fourth quarter, coach came up to him, and they had it on camera where he was very selfless. It was nice. It was cute. Yeah. He wanted the young guys to eat. But it's a chance for you to make the team that sent you away to feel the pain of letting one of the greatest running backs in the history of the game go. Yeah. So I would love for him to do it. But again, that's a personal, selfish reason. If his body ain't feeling it, and frankly, he's trying to chase championships, then, I mean, he's doing his best for him.
Yeah. How much of this do you think is actually, his decision?
Oh, it's 100% his decision. When you saw the coach go up to him for the Giants game and say, Saquon, we want to do what you want to do. Even offensive linemen have talked about, hey, we're here to ride our boy. If he wants to go chase this, record, it's their record too.
Right.
So I'm sure a bunch of them were saying, hey, you sure you don't want to go after this? You sure you don't want to go after this? Because it's going to be a football in my house for the rest of time. I'm part of the line that helps Saquon break the record.
Right.
But it's just a choice, and he's obviously choosing not to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's talk about Joe Burrow in this MVP situation now. He's being mentioned in this conversation alongside Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, despite his team and their losing record. Fair or foul, should the MVP award only go to players who really are leading their teams to victories, or is it fair to reward individual brilliance regardless of the team's record?
I think it's fair. Individual brilliance, it's something to where, again, going back to me, I've been on teams where we've lost games. We're having losing seasons with the Ravens and the Falcons, but I'm doing my job. I'm destroying every linebacker. I'm knocking people out. I'm making people like back up before they hit because it's fourth quarter. They're just tired because I'm so angry that I can't throw the ball. I can't intercept the ball. I can't, block for myself. All I can do is do my job. I do it to the best of my ability. And there were years where I didn't get to the Pro Bowl because, the team around me wasn't doing their job. I'm like, why should I get, penalized for my team not doing what they're supposed to do? I can't play every position. So if you're a great player and you have the numbers, you have the stats, you have all of the qualities of a superstar, you should be treated as a superstar. So I'm not mad at that. I just know that the way the world is and the way the NFL is, it's about optics. It just doesn't look good if you're that good, but your team is not doing that well, especially at that position. You're going to get some flack for your record's this. Like, yeah, but my numbers are this. Yeah, but your record's that. So
Yeah.
I think it's foul what they're doing to him, but it's fair that people have that mindset because we're a world about optics.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to get it, Ovie?
I want Lamar to get it. I think the numbers say he should get it, but I feel like the media has it out for Lamar. I mean, they don't like their brother anyway. They told him he was a running back. He showed them that he wasn't. They wished it for him to lose every time a receiver drops the ball. Like, oh, it's Lamar's fault. The media does not like Lamar. You know, if he was Patrick Mahomes, he had, his hair is a little more polished, and we already talked about this, like how he talks, how he acts, his swag, his hair, his dress. You don't see Lamar on commercials. Yeah. It's because he like you. He got a dark skin. He got a dark skin, and right. It doesn't make a lot of people comfortable as some of these pretty boys.
Yeah.
And so if it's up to the media, he's not getting an MVP. Okay. Josh Allen is going to be the great white hope that they've been pushing for a long time. And Josh having a great season, but Josh Allen isn't having as good of a season as Lamar is. Right. So I want Lamar to have it, but I think it's going to Josh Allen.
Okay. Hey, man, Ovie, tell them how to keep up with you.
Hey, as always, you can go to Instagram, OVIE34. You can go to Twitter, X, at Ovie Mughelli 34. I'm out there. We got a podcast, Believe in Falcons, myself, Michael Turner. Check us out. We have a couple more episodes till the season's over, but might do a little something after that. But y'all, like, follow, subscribe, check me out, and we'll keep on talking.
All right. Appreciate you, bro.